urgency with the priorities. Your activities and your tasks should be moving you towards your goals. So you should always prioritize your health and personal progress over other matters. Every other request should be considered before approaching. Always think about where you're going with what you're doing. So let's have a look at the Eisenhower matrix and how we can start to prioritize our tasks effectively. Eisenhower matrix basically is a big square split in 4 parts, forming 4 quadrants. Along the top we have urgent and not urgent, and along left side we have important and not important. And this is how the matrix looks like. Now you take all your tasks and place them one by one in one of the 4 quadrants. First quadrant, important and urgent. This is a quadrant where all the tasks and activities go that must be done right now, otherwise the thing that you're working on will break down. This could be things like writing article to post later today, or having a pre-planned team meeting to decide further product development. Obviously these are all the things that cannot be postponed and must be done right now. Second quadrant, important but not urgent. So these are all the things that are very important for you, but they're not urgent and they can be done anytime during the day. For example, if you want to be fit, you decide to run every day, but because running is not urgent, you can schedule it for whenever it's most appropriate for you. And the same goes for things like long-term research or long-term planning or calling family and friends. All these things are important, but they're not urgent. Third quadrant is urgent, but not important. This quadrant I would suggest to leave the last after first and second quadrant is completed tasks. Then you can get on with this quadrant. In this quadrant you're gonna have things like answering certain emails or sharing informative articles on social media and internet. But what I would suggest is that these are the tasks that are really good to delegate to other people. So if the time is valuable resource for you, I would definitely suggest for you to delegate them. And fourth and final quadrant is not urgent and not important. These are pretty much all the time wasters, activities like watching TV, checking on social media and just randomly browsing the internet. Pretty much these activities you can skip without losing anything. I mean, there is nothing wrong from time to time to watch a telly or browse the social media, but if you're really focusing on achieving your goals, then you should try to minimize these activities as much as possible. That's it, pretty easy, right? 4 boxes and all your priorities are down. But what to do when you have a lot of priorities in each of these boxes? One thing what you can do, you can sort them out by urgency and go through all of them. But that's not always the case. That's why less is more. And what I mean with that is that sometimes when you got too many tasks, you got to start to delay some of the tasks so you can focus on the ones that are really, really important for you. For example, if you have 3 projects you're working on and all of them are in quadrant 1, then what you want to do, you want to reschedule a couple of these projects so you can focus on one most important project and get that one done. Because if you're gonna stick with all of them, you probably won't get any of them done. You might end up in a situation where your prioritization matrix is more or less done, but then another urgent and important task comes around, which means that you probably need to shuffle your priorities around. It is understandable since life is unpredictable, but you should always try to keep your priorities as much as possible and only change priorities if that's the only thing you can do to improve the situation and still manage to finish everything. The goal here is to always have your priorities clear. This was me.